James Melendez, I have this beautiful bottle. It's by Donnafugata called Tancredi. It's a red wine coming from Sicily. Stay tuned for this review. So I have been very fortunate to put foot on ground in Sicilia, and especially on Donnafugata's estate. And for me, it's a really wonderful experience because, you know, I can taste the wines, I can read about them, but really putting foot on ground and say talking with the wine grape grower and the family itself is really important, because I think you get that hallmark of what they're really aiming towards. So let me show you the bottle here. I love the labeling program here. Tancredi is a fictional character in 2012 vintage. So let me introduce the wine. This is Tancredi 2012 vintage Donnafugata, back label here. And you can see this is Terre Siciliane. And so this is a composition of both Nero d'Avola and Cabernet Sauvignon, a bit of Tannat and other varieties as well. So 13.5%, let me just stop there for a moment. That's an amazing thing, because when I look at wines, I'm tasting frequently like 14.5 is really common. In fact, I rarely find wines below that, especially as a red wine. And but that is the beauty of this region. So there's a carbon footprint accounting here on the bottom. And so visiting Donnafugata, you realize walking on the pristine estates that they have is noting that there's this great concern by the Rallo family, which owns Donnafugata, about, you know, the best way to produce wines, the most, you know, sound and ecologically sound wines, but also really beautiful, harmonious wines that are, you know, coming to the marketplace. And let me pour a little bit more in my Bordeaux glass. When you taste wines like this, in my opinion, definitely get a large format Bordeaux glass, because I think it's going to go a long way. So the name itself, Tancredi, is a character in the novel called The Leopard. In Italian, it's El Gattopardo. It's by Giuseppe Tomasi di Lampedusa. And it's really talking about this period, a very special period in Italy, and how it affects Sicily, in the Risorgimento, so in the mid-1800s. And that's because that's the end of the two kingdoms of Sicilia. And the end of that is really, you know, I would say, you know, if I could understand Italian history, I'm still, you know, I would always say I'm a student about Italian history. So Italian history is very complex, right? I mean, you go to the Romans, and that's, you know, a whole course load and degrees for people to get from university. But it's also to look at things in terms of how complex it is. It's not just one story, it's many stories. It's not just a straightforward story, but it's a very complex one. Ultimately, how I'm gonna, you know, phrase this or put this in this particular frame. I was in Palermo and I was doing a walking tour, and the guide she was very, very thoughtful and helpful. And she mentioned, you know, there is, you know, the poverty in terms of, say, the economic disparity between North and South has been very marked. And at the end of the two kingdoms of Sicily becomes a new period, and one where it is, you know, not as prosperous. And many parts of the former two kingdoms of Sicily are not in their former glory, and that really builds some of that concern and belief that the Risorgimento was good for some, but not for all Italians. That's such an amazing encapsulation, is to read El Gattopardo. So I'm reading in English, which I've read. I'm rereading it again, because I'm also reading it in Italiano, because I love Italian and I want to be fluent in Italian at some point in my life. But back to this wine, I think for me, the capture of the Nero d'Avola, the indigenous grape variety, with the international variety, the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Tannat and other varieties. But I'm going to talk about the lead partners in terms of, say, the Nero d'Avola and the Cabernet Sauvignon. So I love this wine because it captures both nicely, and they work very well together. So in terms of the Cabernet Sauvignon, the international variety is giving that bit of herbaceous quality, and for the Nero d'Avola is really giving that beautiful harmonious of the tart red fruit notes. And right away, this wine is 93 points out of 100 points. There is no getting around it. It is amazing. And I'll put another review where I gave the same point to a previous vintage right up here. So here we go. First to the scent characterization, followed by the flavor profile. And the fruit is coming from Contessa Entellina, as well as other areas in southwest Sicily. Now the fruit is coming from estates in the 200 to 600 meter range, which is approximately 650 to 1300 meters above sea level, and spends 30 months in the bottle prior to release. and really handsome bottle here. What I love about the magic of this wine is the blend. I think is really evident and beautiful, and harmonious composition of both the international and Nero d'Avola, the indigenous variety. Doesn't mean that it's a superior bottling to say 100% Nero d'Avola or 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, but ultimately it's that great harmony and marriage, in fact. So on this wine, I'm getting notes of stone fruit orchard during fall time. Love that notation, as well as leather, dried red fruit, rose petal, and moist earth. Very evocative, beautiful, and absolutely stunningly gorgeous. So, and the way to maximize that experience is in a very large volume Bordeaux glass. Very tart red fruit notes. I think it's absolutely sublime, beautiful. So the bit of a cranberry, tayberry, red cherry, early season red cherry, because those are going to be a little bit tart than the later season. A bit of white pepper, violets, and ground clove. Stunningly gorgeous wine, and this is something to do is to maybe on a very special meal. It's going to go nicely with lamb. It's going to go well with beef, ribeye, New York strip steaks, burgers even. I think it's a fantastic, beautiful, gorgeous wine. Many things to enjoy with this wine, and giving that beautiful capture of this particular producer. I love the label. To me, this is really getting to the heart of the matter. And so you look at all the Donnafugata wines are referencing back to El Gattopardo. Love the idea of getting a book and paying homage through maybe a bottling or maybe naming a particular wine after a character. For me, I think it's showing this really great love for Sicily and beautiful wine. So for me, this is fantastic. So if your wine merchant doesn't have a Donnafugata wine, ask them to bring them in, because they definitely know the wine, and it's really fantastically beautiful. Approximate suggested retail price point is $40 and worth every penny. So thank you for watching. Let's stay connected. Again, 93 points out of 100 points. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Google+, and LinkedIn. And we can have a social handshake there, as well as down below is questions and comments. The like button's down below, so please hit that button. Right up here is the subscribe button, so please hit that button. And the reason to do so is to see future videos that I'm producing. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate your support. An amazing 2017. Thank you for watching today. Stay tuned for more. Salute.